Hey guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys exactly how to build out the abandoned cart flow. Now, this is not to be confused with the abandoned checkout flow. I know that Klaviyo gets a little bit confusing with the way that they label their flows. The way that they label it is abandoned cart flow, but the actual trigger behind it is, initiating the checkout. But what I mean with the abandoned cart flow is when someone is actually adding something or multiple items to their cart, like they're clicking the add to cart button, but they're not actually initiating their checkout, versus the abandoned checkout flow where they are initiating the checkout, but they haven't completed their purchase. So this is gonna be really, really important for you guys to build out as well, just because there's gonna be a huge bucket of users that are adding items to their cart, but they're not necessarily starting the checkout process. And so we wanna make sure that we're capturing those users, making sure that we're following up with them with the right emails to get them to come back and initiate their checkout, if not complete their purchase. So stay tuned in this video. I'm gonna be showing you exactly how to set that up, exactly how to be able to track when someone's adding an item to their cart, how to set up the code snippet on your Shopify store, etc., etc. So stay tuned. I'm excited to get into this video. All right, so the very first step to making sure that the add to cart metric is set up on your account correctly is, first of all, we want to make sure that the viewed product metric is, first of all, tracking. So the viewed product metric is what's going to be tied to the browse abandonment flow, which is one step in the funnel before the abandoned cart flow. But in order for us to track the added to cart metric, we have to be able to track the viewed product metric. And so the way that we can make sure to do that is to just make sure you go to the left side of your Klaviyo account here, and then go to integrations. And I'm in this integration section right here. If you guys are using Shopify, you should see the integration for Shopify. And if you click that, there should be a section here that says on-site tracking. The Klaviyo app embed is enabled on your Shopify store. So this should be all green. Everything should be looking smooth when it comes to setting this up. If for some reason you have like an error message, then you're just going to want to go ahead and modify. There should be a link for you to click where you can go into your Shopify theme and then enable the Klaviyo integration with your Shopify theme. But yeah, once that's set up, and that's running smoothly, then at that point you can go ahead and create the added to cart metric. Now, in order for us to set up the abandoned cart metric correctly, we need to install an added to cart snippet as part of the theme.liquid file on the Shopify theme. So for us to do that, we want to kind of navigate to your store. So in this case, we'll use the beach canvas, one of our clients, as an example. So we'll just go to any of their product pages. In this case, you would go to any of your product pages on your actual Shopify store. And then we're going to navigate to the add to cart button. So once we get to that add to cart button, we're just going to hit the right click button and we're going to click inspect. Now you should see a whole bunch of code right here on the right side. Don't worry if it seems a little bit overwhelming. There's quite a lot of code here, but what we really want to focus on is there should be something that's highlighted blue right here. And that kind of shows us, as we kind of hover over some of this text here, it's going to naturally hover over some of the elements on your website. So the first thing we want to do is kind of identify where this add to cart code is. And we want to look for where it says button type equals submit, name equals add, class equals action underscore button. So this action underscore button right here, this can vary from website to website. But what we really want to be focusing on is a section of code that says button type equals submit and name equals add. And so what we want to do there is we want to click it, and then we want to right click this and hit copy, and we want to copy element. So I have this new Google Doc open right here, and this is the code that we're going to be pasting later on. But what I want to go ahead and do first is paste the element that we just copied from the website under the add to cart button. And so as you can see, we have the code right here: button type equals submit, name equals add, class equals action underscore button add to cart. So the main part of this code that we really want to be focusing on is this part right here under class. So wherever it says class equals, and then in quotes it'll say action underscore button. Again, in this case, it might be something different for you specifically, but you want to copy everything that's in between those quotes. And I'll just go ahead and copy that, and I'll highlight this for you as well. So this is the main part of the code that we want to focus on. And then we want to paste this into this code right here. So this is the main code that we're going to be adding to the Shopify theme. and we want to be pasting the code, this code right here, into this code. So we want to remove everything in the quotes from this code, and we want to replace it with everything that's highlighted right here. So basically what we're doing is we are implementing a snippet code into the Shopify theme in order for Klaviyo or Shopify to track when someone is actually adding something to their cart. And by adding this specific code, this is specific to your specific website. So we'll be able to know when someone is actually adding an item to their cart. So once we copy this, then we can go ahead and copy this entire code. And so then the next step is to go into your Shopify backend. In this case, I'll go into the Shopify backend under themes, and then there should be 3 dots right here. And once you click those 3 dots, there should be an option to edit the code. And so the next step is you're gonna want to go into the theme.liquid file, and there's gonna be a ton of code here. Obviously, don't get overwhelmed by all this code. This is just necessary for your website to be running and functioning properly. But at the very, very bottom, you should see a little bit of text that says, left arrow / body, right arrow, and then left arrow / HTML, right arrow. So we want to make sure to paste this code from this document, this top code right here. We want to paste that above. The body tag. So we want to make some space for that code. Make sure that it's above the body tag and the HTML tag, and we just want to go ahead and paste that in. And then you just want to go ahead and click save. And so once that is saved, essentially we are pretty much done in terms of getting the code implemented into the Shopify theme. And so now when someone is actually adding items to their cart, Klaviyo is going to be communicating with Shopify, and so we're going to know exactly what item people are adding to their cart, or what items people are adding to their cart, and we're going to be able to create a whole new metric out of this. So that's going to allow us to create an abandoned cart flow, again, which is different than the abandoned checkout flow. All right, so now that the code was installed on Shopify, now what we want to go ahead and do is actually test that code and just make sure that we're testing things on the site just to make sure that the added to cart metric is actually firing in the way that it should. And so the way that we're going to be testing this is a little bit more of a manual process, but this is just to really, really ensure that we set up the code successfully and that everything's working the way that it should. So what we'll do is in the navigation tab, you're just going to put the name of your site. So, brandname.com. In this case, we'll do thebeachcanvas.com. And then right after the website, you're going to put a question mark, and then you're going to put UTM_email equals, and you can put whatever email you want. You can put your own email. In this case, I'll use my email, which is siv@ltv-labs.com. And so this is just kind of communicating to Klaviyo that this specific profile is visiting the website. And so it'll track all of my sort of activity now. So it basically just installs a cookie on your website, which is going to allow us to track any activity and kind of it kind of works to show us what we're actually doing, what activities we're doing, et cetera, et cetera. In this case, it'll be useful for us to know whether the added to cart metric is actually working. So I'm just going to click enter. And so now my actual email should be tracked with this cookie. And for some reason that didn't work. Let me try that one more time. _email @ltvlabs.com. Okay, so that worked. Maybe I just misspelled something earlier, but so I'll just go back to any of the product pages and I'll click the add to cart button. And so now I've clicked the added to cart button. I've added an item to my cart. So what we're going to be doing now is going back into Klaviyo, and under the search button, we're just going to type in whatever the email that we just used for adding it to the URL bar. So in this case, my own email is siv@ltv-labs.com. And you should see the profile is right here, and you can see that the profile just got updated right now. And as you can see, February 28th at 1:05 p.m., I viewed a product, which is true. I went ahead and viewed this product right here. And I've also added that item to the cart as well. So if this added to cart little metric thing shows up under the activity for this profile, that means that the code was installed correctly. So you guys need to look out once you guys obviously install the code into the Shopify theme, then you guys need to look out for the added to cart metric, for every profile that's adding something to their cart after you test it. So since I've already tested my own email, I've navigated to the profiles, it's showing added to cart. So that just means everything is working correctly, as I said. And if you click this down arrow, you can actually see, the image URL, the URL of the actual item that I've added to cart, et cetera, et cetera. And so all this information is going to be pulled into the abandoned cart flow once we set that up. So I'll go ahead and show you exactly how we're going to set that up as well. But first of all, we just want to make sure that everything is working correctly. In this case, it is working correctly. So, and by the way, this is Shopify. If you're running your store on WooCommerce or BigCommerce or any of those other platforms, then typically you guys don't need to add that snippet code to the theme of the website or the code of the website. The integration between Klaviyo and WooCommerce or whatever the platform might be already contains the added to cart metric. So this is just really just for Shopify stores in order to make sure that we're able to track that added to cart metric. So I'll go into getting into actually setting up the flow and how that works now. All right, so now we're gonna actually be setting up the flow. So in the Klaviyo account, you're gonna go ahead and navigate to flows, and then there should be an option to create a flow on the top right. And then in this case, we wanna go down to browse by goal. I'm pretty sure you can either type in cart right here as well. Yeah, so you guys can just type in cart on the top. There's multiple ways to get to this, but you're gonna click the added to cart trigger. So this is different than the abandoned checkout. Again, you don't wanna create a flow around the trigger of initiating a checkout. You wanna base it around the added to cart trigger. And so you wanna click this. And then, with this, you can just title it LTV added to cart flow. And then the trigger is added to cart. So you're gonna go ahead and create flow. And then, basically this is the flow. So the trigger is when someone adds something to their cart. Obviously you can feel free to customize some of these time delays. Obviously there's there's multiple ways that you can customize it depending on the time delays or, different emails, that are sent out depending on, what items that were actually added to the cart, et cetera, et cetera. But for the sake of this video, I'm just going to be going over how to set up the flow. So now that this flow is set up, you guys can start, uploading emails and making them live. And these emails will start sending out, according to your preferences. So if someone is adding an item to their cart, but they don't actually initiate checkout, after waiting for 4 hours, they'll be sent an email reminding them of exactly what was in their cart. So you guys can actually create a dynamic block around what items people are actually adding to their cart. So just to show you an example of that, if we go down to edit, and you'll see that there's a block right here. So you guys can go ahead and save this as a added to cart block so you guys can use it in your own templates. But if you go to preview and test, you should see the item that I added, and you might need to play around with the pricing right here. The formatting is a little bit messed up, so that needs to be fixed. But in general, you can see that this is the dynamic block. So if I added a different item to my cart, it would be showing a different item, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that pretty much sums up exactly how to go about creating a abandoned cart flow. Again, I just want to reiterate, this is much, much different than the abandoned checkout flow, although there are some similarities between like the messaging in those flows. But in terms of the actual trigger, a lot of accounts that I've audited don't actually have this set up because it does require a little bit more work on the back end to install that snippet code that I just showed you guys. So again, the main difference is the abandoned cart flow is gonna get triggered when someone adds an item to their cart. But they don't necessarily initiate a checkout. Whereas the default abandoned checkout flow, something that Klaviyo already comes with, and something that you can already set up through Klaviyo on your own without doing anything manually on the back end, is the abandoned checkout flow where someone is starting the checkout process, but they don't actually complete their purchase. So this is going to be important because, like I said earlier, there's going to be a huge bucket of users that are probably adding items to their cart on your website, but they're not necessarily, you know, getting any further than that. So this flow is really, really important to be able to target people who have just added items to their cart, getting them to come back to the site, maybe start that checkout process, or even better yet, complete their purchase. So, you know, we've implemented this flow on tons of the accounts that we're managing, and we've seen a huge uplift in the revenue that we're able to produce. This is one of the most powerful flows that I would say that we're able to build here. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions at all about how to set anything of this up, really happy to help. You know, we help, you know, a lot of e-commerce brands out there with their email marketing on Klaviyo specifically. We've helped a lot of, you know, 5 to 6 figure, even 7 figure brands out there. So if you guys are looking for help, you know, in terms of managing your email marketing account on Klaviyo, in terms of the flows and the campaigns, and just someone to manage it, really happy to have a chat with you and kind of learn more about what your goals are for your brand, and, you know, see if and potentially how I might be able to help. So I'll leave my link to my calendar in the description of this video, and I'll also link the code as well that we kind of went over as well. I'll leave that in the description of the video as well. So again, hope this was helpful, and yeah, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Thanks.